larger framework that the city's zoning all the city's zoning ordinances and bylaws are supposed to conform to. And you know, in LA, it's sort of a layered animal because we have a big general plan and then community plans beneath that, and then specific zoning ordinance that are supposed to guide you toward what the general plan is. And so it's in other parts of the country, it's sometimes called a comprehensive plan, but it's basically the building and land use vision for the city. It's the overarching guideline for what can be built, what can't be built, how it's supposed to look, and things like that.
Okay.
Excuse me, I think it's important to note that the general plan is over 20 years old.
Okay, thank you. Any objections here to that?
No, that's true.
Okay.
So am I. But I can't be rewritten.
Okay, so there you go. So the moratorium would expire if the City Council adopted both an updated general plan framework and an updated community plan text and zoning map. And I'm a little confused about this piece, but maybe we don't need to go into the weeds. Or 20 months or 24 months past. So whichever happens first. Community plan and general plan get updated, or the 2 years pass. And I think everybody agrees that no, there's not a chance in hell that those community plans or general plans going to get updated, right? So that means this happens for 2 years, right?
It's not accurate.
Is that, no?
There are parts of the city, like South LA, where the community plans have been updated and the draft EIR was released last fall.
Oh, so you're saying a much shorter time frame. So
Some
of
parts of the city,
so
where the community plans have already been updated or have the final EIRs or draft EIRs have been released, literally will be approved this year, and South LA is one of them.
Granada Hills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But does Measure S reference community plan to the city plan?
Well, yeah, can you guys clarify that? Because actually the language in the measure for me, that was actually confusing to me. So
It
can you
references
that?
both because, here, I'm going to channel Richard Platkin, who's just, the knowledgeable person of all time about LA planning. According to him, the general plan has elements, and the community plans are elements of the general plan. So the general plan is up here, and there are various elements that I won't even try to go through. But one of the key elements are the community plan. So some of the community plans having been updated means that depending on that community plan and the geography and all the features of that particular community, there may have been some provisions in that plan for very dense, even high-rise development. Because the idea isn't to get rid of that, it's to plan where it goes to match the infrastructure. So we would hope in community plans that have areas that would be highly suitable for extremely dense, dense to extremely dense development, that would be provided for. Thus, if we could get our general plan updated, then there isn't much need for general plan amendments, which undermine the general plan.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't even know who asked that question. Was that question answered?
Well, so is it safe to assume that if Measure M passes?
Measure S,
Sorry,
I know.
Measure-
There are a lot of measures. Measure M did pass.
Apologies. Should Measure S pass, then, and the community plan is revised, then Measure S would no longer apply, but only to that specific community?
It's a bit of a gray area. It might be something that would have to be worked out. But 2 years in planning time is a very short time. I mean, if you've ever gone to the planning.
Right, but that's not what I'm asking.
So it could be that S will time out before anybody can figure it out.
That's for the rest of the city.
That's correct.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, and then most of you probably know that there was a version.
Don't have
Oh, I
a plan.
apologize. There was a version of this that was introduced last year, and then there was a lot of stuff going on, and a revision was made, and that is this exemption for affordable housing if the affordable housing is 100% affordable housing, which I would like us to talk about later. So that's a really important piece of this. Okay. Another big piece of this that I think gets overlooked in a lot of the conversations that I've heard is there's not just this, as I understand it, and once again you folks can correct me if I'm wrong, But it's not just about this moratorium. There is another component outside of this moratorium that is an amendment that does prohibit amendments to the general plan if they are what I think is called spot zoning. Is this? So let me just
yeah.
finish if that's correct. Or
Well,
close.
it's
Okay.
close.
Then let me just finish and then you
Yeah,
can jump in.
finish and tell me when you
So the general, this motion is about if you're talking about a significant part of the city of Los Angeles, defined in a few various ways, then you can make amendments to the general plan going forward. But if it's not a significant area, then you cannot. And that's not a 2-year moratorium, that's just forever.
Right.
Okay, so
Okay,
if you have any
so-
corrections on that, please.
Yeah, an important one.
Okay, thank you.
Measure S does not create or legislate anything that actually prohibits general plan amendments or spot zoning. Not because we didn't think it was a bad idea, because that's already exists. It exists at a higher level than Measure S. It exists in the charter of the city of Los Angeles. There is a prescription in there and that prohibits things like spot zoning for one project, for one developer or set of group. It needs to be, it prescribes actually a more restrictive size, that you have to have an even bigger size piece of land, so that you aren't just punching endless holes in the general plan, but at least it's a coherent size and it becomes kind of a specific plan of its own. So Measure S has no power, actually, to get rid of it or to implement it. Measure S talks about it and kind of acknowledges it and likes it. But the only thing we did do in Measure S on that Measure S affects it or changes it from the charter, and that came in charter reform in 1969, is actually try to propose what that acreage would be, and actually it would probably be less than what the charter actually indicates, but it would be, we think, a little more easy to handle if it was a little less. So we proposed 14 or 15 acres, and that would be probably smaller than if you absolutely, but there's a little room in there, and we opted for a little smaller, a little easier to handle, because again, we're not against development. That's just not.
Okay, and
One of the things it says is that it's not gonna change the significant social, economic, or physical identity of the neighborhood. And then it goes in to say, well, you can have it can be a neighborhood council you can do, it can be any community, but the minimum is 15 acres.
Let me mention some of the real world significance of that for people and for buildings. So if you look at proposed developments in the city of Los Angeles, there's some websites that track them with the city, and there's some blogs that talk about development. And they'll identify the site, they'll show you a picture of the site as it exists now, they'll show you renderings of what the project will be. You can see that there's a lot of essentially wasted spaces in the city of Los Angeles. They tend to be, there'll be a parking lot, there'll be a underused industrial site with trash going around it. We have a closed auto dealership, etc. And because we have old plans in the city, a lot of these places they're zoned only for parking, like parking buffer or something like that, but they're zoned for manufacturing and the like. And so if you want to have on those pieces of land, rather than like an asphalt that's just forming the city and doing no good, if you want to have like a mixed use, mixed income building, that's places for people to live, that is businesses for people to go to, that's revenue for the city, you need to do a change, right? And you usually need to change in the general plan to make it from this, essentially this scar in Los Angeles, to something that's actually valuable for human beings to inhabit, to work in. It'll be around for 50 or 100 years for different generations to use in different ways. And so while there is a sort of, on the one hand, there's kind of like a planning procedural philosophical sense that maybe we should only change these zoning by the community plan process. To me, there's also, on the other hand, which outweighs it, there's a need. There's like a human need, there's like an evolution of the city, there's kind of an imperative that we do things with the city that actually let people live their lives. And to me, this is something that is more significant. And And so when we're thinking about the standards of these general plan amendments, we should also think about what they're allowing and what they would forbid if it's changed.
Well, we would hope.
Okay, I don't want to get too much in the back and forth just yet, sorry.
Could you
But
just
Mike,
repeat
go
that?
ahead.
Let her go on.
Let me just go to Mike for a moment, and then I'll come to you, sir. Thank you.
This is just a quick addition to Mark's point, which is just that a lot of these sites are less than 15 acres. Right, so that, and because what Measure S says is that, you know, a subsequent amendment after this 2-year moratorium could really only happen on a site of over 15 acres. Conversions from a lot of these underused sites would be very, very difficult, if not impossible. And that's, I mean, if you've been down to the Arts District or something like that, just old land that is empty industrial buildings, you know, a lot of those parcels are less than 15 acres. They had to be rezoned to be made into what they are now. That sort of transformation would be, you know, I guess nothing's impossible, but it would be really, really, really hard to measure.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I need, Miki, I need to go to this gentleman.
Yeah, could you just reread that stipulation of the measure?
Well, I'll read, it's actually like a page long, so I highlighted a couple parts. So the gist is, no general plan amendment shall be adopted for a portion of an element or any geographic area of the city that does not have a significant social, economic, or physical identity. And so as Jack and several of us have talked about, what that means by significant social, economic, or physical identity is an entire community district or plan area, an entire area that has been included in a specific plan, an entire named neighborhood, council area, and an area no less than 15 acres.
I will say that the language about the character, that is taken from the city charter. That already exists in the city charter. And nothing any of us can say here about need or lack of need or, you know, all those things, which in many ways we don't substantially disagree. We're more talking about the way it's done than whether it's done. None of that can affect the prohibition against spot zoning in the city charter. It can't. To change that in the city charter, there's two ways. One would be to amend the city charter, and the other would be to go through the process that the city charter prescribes, which is amending and changing and updating our plans to allow for unused land to be used differently, to allow for a lot of this. If we put these in the plans and we plan where it is, then we deal with the whole city charter issue. But if not, we're still going to have a legal city charter issue. And I'm telling you that there are several cases working their way through the courts based on the legality and illegality of spot zones, which is illegal, and general plan amendments that are illegal for anything that doesn't fit the description we took out of the charter. So it just, leaving it the way it is, does not deal with that legal issue.
Okay, so.
We could end up in a place none of us want to be if we don't do things to deal with that, like fix the city plan.
So sorry, there are questions, and I think I have a question, you have a question, and then you.
Sort of a two-part question.
Is it connected to this? Because I want to make, okay, thank
Yes,
you.
I want to clarify my understanding. If you have one of these parking lots, this lot that's zoned just for parking, and you go to the city and ask for a change of use to anything, to residential, to anything else, is that what you're referring to as a general plan amendment? So in essence, doesn't that mean that the only people who will, under Measure S, who will be able to get residential built are people who can afford to purchase at least 15 acres?
It's not quite that simple. First of all commercial land and all places where people are parking are not prohibitively zoned against all kinds of other uses. It varies a great deal from place to place all over the city. Another reason we need to fix the city plan to let those things happen that happen in a planned fashion. In many industrial zones, commercial zones, they also allow for what's called R3, which is multifamily residential. They allow for various things. It's not that simple in LA. There's all sorts of tiers and zones, so it would depend, you know,